Hello. Welcome to our webinar for our recently released features. We're going to give it just another minute or two as people are hopping on to join. So feel free to throw any questions in the Q&A. We have quite a few things to walk through today. So go ahead and get started if you'd like, and we'll start in just another minute. Okay, awesome. Well, we've got a few more people that have joined. Yes, we already have a question. I love it. So we've got a few people that have joined for our webinar today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our monthly Curate webinar where we walk through all of the latest and greatest with the Curate software. We're joined by Brooklyn today, as is normal these days. She's our product guru. So she's the one that really has a big part in helping make your suggestions come to life. She really brings them together. We've got a lot to go over today. As we're going, feel free, throw some questions in the Q&A. If we're covering them while we're walking through, we'll go ahead and answer that questions. For the gratuity question, Robert will kind of loop back to that towards the end when we're talking about some extra things. And then, but feel free to throw any questions in there. Then you will also get a follow-up email with a recording. You want to share it with your team or whatever, you can do that. And if you like a feature as we're talking about it, please be sure to let us know. We pass that back to our team so that we can let them know what they can what our customers have really liked when it comes to features that we're releasing. So we'll get started. Brooklyn is actually going to kick off today and take us into the workroom and show us a few of the updates that have happened there.
Hi everyone. Yeah, let's get started. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, to kick us off, we've made some improvements into the workroom. So I thought we'd start there. I'm in an event here and I'm going to go to the orders and we're going to cover some updates that we've made. The first one being there's a new look to the recipe view. So if you've been in app recently, you may have already seen it. But as we click into recipe view, it's going to just have a new layout. It's more spacious, it's horizontal. This was all given or done based off of feedback provided by you all. So we always appreciate your notes that you send in to us, like Shannon mentioned. So this is just a new layout. It's not necessarily changing any of the main functionality that you're used to. It's just giving you a more easier kind of visibility into these individual recipe cards. So just a new update here to make note of. And then within your recipe cards, there's also going to be a new update. This is a new button that we've added. You'll see it on all of your recipes. It says SRP, which means suggested retail price. So it's just a new apply button. You'll find it under the unit price on your line items. And then just with clicking this, it will automatically update the unit price to match the suggested retail price. So this is just making it faster. You don't have to copy and paste. It's just with a click of a button. So this suggested retail price is coming in through my recipe with my markups and what I have set as my unit cost here. So if I hit apply, we'll see that this unit price will just automatically update from $12 to 17. And then this will just make sure that I'm being profitable. So really quick and easy, just with a click of a button there. And so that's an update that we've made within the recipe itself. So just some things to note there. We've also made an update based off feedback to help with your component view. So while you are on component view, you might be familiar with this table. This just breaks down all the different details around your components. But an update that we've made is just letting you group your components. So you can now group them by category. This will be able to access through this interactive table. So if we go to the category column here and we click this little 3-bar menu, you'll see some options that drop down here for you. If you want to group by category, and don't worry, you can always ungroup. So once you set it, if you change your mind, you can always go back. But if we group by category, it'll reorganize the data in this table. And so this can help you know, like by category, your product categories, kind of your spending, understand where the costs are coming from at a glance. If you drop these down, you'll then just see the data just kind of in a new view. So yeah, just something to take advantage of if you like to group your products by categories. Then it'll total everything up for you there. Again, if you want to go back, you can always click away and come back to component view, or you can actually group and ungroup, different pieces of the table. So we can always ungroup and it'll go back to the way that it originally was. So just wanted to show off some updates kind of around orders. And then we've also made some updates within the workroom around photos. So some highly requested features. So excited to show those off as well. The first up being a drag and drop feature with your photos within the proposal. So let's add a new, let's add a mood board. What do I want to add?
The Brilliance theme header is really nice.
Okay, let's go with that one.
Down a little bit further with the cover containers. I know
There-
there's so many.
sorry.
It's
Um,
yeah.
Okay, so you'll see with any new content added to the, image-based content, so your covers, your mood boards, we now kind of have them in these drop zone kind of format here. And so what this allows you to do is, this is a phase 1, so it will allow you to drag and drop photos from your desktop. And then we'll roll out some additional phases in the future to help, enhance this. But right now when you I just grabbed some photos and saved them to my desktop here. So, oops, I'll show you what that looks like. If I want to pull in, oops. If I want to pull in a photo, I can just drag and drop it into the space and then it'll load this way. So a lot of folks might be familiar with drag and drop if you are on the original Curate system. And so this is a feature that we've updated just recently. So make sure to try it out. Again, it works with desktop photos. You can pull this into covers, into your mood boards. And this works, just how it normally does. If you want to crop the photos or, edit it, you can still go in and manage the images that way. This just speeds up the process of pulling them
Yeah.
into your event.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
you can have
good. So
lots of fun with that.
yes.
And then we've also made photos clickable. So this was based off feedback, just to allow, larger views of the images while you're working through, primarily on order view or recipe view or slide outs. Those little thumbnails can be quite small. And so what we've done there is if you are on order view and let's say you're in a slide out of a particular item, you can click the image. It'll make it nice and large there on your slide outs. If you're on recipe view, kind of same concept, you can click in and see the photo. If you're on that line item itself, you can scroll through and see all the pictures. And then just depending on the size of the photo is kind of how large it will pull through there as you've uploaded it. So we've made some updates there to just kind of improve that experience of the visibility. And then lastly, there's a new update that we've done, which is an undo button when you delete a photo. So you might just be kind of like rapid firing, going through, making your events. You might make a mistake as we all do from time to time, and you might accidentally delete a photo that you didn't intend to. So this will apply to the cover section, order section line items. So if we go through, like let's go through and I can delete a photo. So I'm going to go back to order view to kind of show this off. If I go to my donut station and I accidentally wanted to delete this by clicking X, this little box will come up. It'll give you a little bit to undo and then it'll pull it right back in. So just
Yeah.
a quick undo that just kind of lets you recover those photos if you made a mistake while you're editing. So just reduce some stress there. You don't have to re-upload or wonder where it went. You can just quickly click undo and it'll pull it right back in for you.
Because that also came in when you can have like a one-click delete. You're not having to confirming whenever you're deleting a bunch of photos, but then it kind of gives you that safeguard if you are clicking too quickly or something like that.
Yes, yeah, thanks, Shannon. Yeah, that is another update. I don't think I had that in my notes, but yes, we did update that based off feedback. There's no longer those confirmations. It kind of made you like confirm that you wanted to delete each
Mhm.
individual image, which I know kind of slowed down some processes for some folks. So this is kind of where we landed of, being able to quickly remove photos, but if you accidentally were moving too fast, you can still recover them, and then you can pull it right back in where you needed it.
Yeah.
So yeah, some lots of exciting updates happening within the workroom. And then we have a few more that Shannon's going to cover, and then I'll come back and share after Shannon.
Right. Let me share my screen. All right. So the first one that I have is just talking about tokens. So over this last month, we have really been knocking out some of these little pieces that people have kind of been requesting, been asking for. One of those updates is going to come with tokens. So I've got this Julie and David wedding right here. I'm going to click on this slide out. Me and Brooklyn were talking before this call. Have we talked about this slide out? This is like the admin tab in Curate Classic Plus. There's a lot more information here, and you can view it without even going into the event. So if you're using the portal messages or if you're looking at your inquiry forms, that would be a little bubble right here. It's just super handy. All of this is internal. It's got the notes field that we've talked about before, where you can kind of see the evolution of the event or the activity log, all without committing to going inside the event. The one that I want to talk about right now, though, is going to be our tokens. So I'm going to click into this description right here. We now have 3 new tokens that are available for use. The first one is the project workroom link. So it's just something that you can quickly jump into that workroom, as well as the project stage. We also have another one um, for branches, something with branches. So we have several new tokens that are going to be there. The ones that I really am showing off are the workroom link and the project stage. You can see I've got them in the description. For if you use Google Calendar, this is the information that gets sent to Google Calendar. So I've entered these. I have synced it with my Google Calendar. So you can see right here, here's that wedding. I don't have a time set for that wedding, but that's that wedding. It's going to hang out at the top of my day right there. If I click on that wedding to see, that's the information that's down below. If I had an address, it would fill in everything there. But it gives me the ability to have a link so I can click directly into that workroom from both from my Google Calendar, and I can see the exact status. You might even put something like status booked. But the other place that it's really key for is if you do like to look at your events from the calendar view. There's a lot of people that really utilize this calendar view. They live in this calendar view. So if I see this right here, I can grab that. From here, I can't just click if it's open, but it just makes it really easy for me to get to where I need to go with that workroom view. So that's going to be that token. The other piece that we will look at is going to be our shopping list. So I'm gonna close out of these tabs right here. So we have some updates in our shopping list. If you don't know, let me pop out right here. If you don't know, our shopping lists are just gonna live here in this game plan tab, and then that's where your purchase orders are gonna live. So if you're sending items over to your suppliers, you can do that here. I'm gonna hop onto this shopping list here. We have a couple of updates on this one. The first one is now you can sort them alphabetically. So if I click on that one, you can see now they're going to be sorted alphabetically. Previous, they were according to how they were entered. That was how they were in the system. But now you have the ability to sort alphabetically, so you can just check, make sure you've got everything that you may need. It's going to be there. The other thing that we've got is the ability to view any tags. Any of your line item, your component tags are going to be here. So sometimes I just use the example of how I see people utilize this. If you have a component item that you may order from different places, or maybe you've got multiple different suppliers, that's super common. You can have a tag on there for where this one is coming from. So whenever you're ready to place your orders, your purchase orders. So I'm going to grab these ones that are going to go to Mash. And that can be whatever, that's going to be here. There's a different tag for this line item. I can create a purchase order for specifically those items. Okay. I'm just going to grab ABC vendor actually, but we're going to put the 22nd. And I'm going to hop over to view that purchase order. That brings us into our next update about purchase orders. That is going to be the ability to preview the email that will get sent over whenever you're sending this over to your supplier. So once you're here in your purchase orders, you can make any sort of updates to what you're going to need. That all of those items are going to kind of be here. But then I can click right here to send the email to my supplier. Then you can preview the information that will be sent over there to that customer or to that supplier. You can also leave any sort of notes. I will say sometimes that's really helpful. In this case, we've got these marked as purchase units. For other people, they may be per case or per bunch or per box, whatever that may look like for you. That's what it would show. But that just allows you to preview that whenever you're sending that over to your supplier. One thing that I forgot on the shopping list, so I'm going to hop back over to my shopping list really quickly, is now it also shows the unit cost for all of your ingredients as well, so that you can kind of see a little bit better where's those prices coming from, what's my individual pricing for those shopping list items. Those are going to show there as well. Okay, I think that's it. That's it for that one. So let me stop sharing. Brooklyn is going to come back again, take a look at some form stuff.
Alrighty. Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Yeah, like Shannon mentioned, we're going to cover some updates that have taken place around forms. So one in particular is when you create your forms, the code snippet. So when you create a form, let me click into this, and then you choose to share that form. There's a few different methods that you can share your forms with folks. You can either do the direct link, which, would be helpful if you're sending it via email and you just kind of want that URL. But we also have this option to do the code snippet. And so prior, there were some, I guess like necessary manual edits based off of your website, just different formats of where you're kind of placing this based off of how that website was built. And so the team has really dug in and made some good edits here to the code snippet to reduce that kind of manual edit work. So now you just have to copy and paste it, and then there's no resizing. This embed code will just be ready to go. When you click it, it will turn blue, and then that kind of just copies it to your cursor, and then you can paste it, wherever that might look like on your website to kind of truly embed that into your your processes there, and folks can find you on your company site. So yeah, some exciting updates there to reduce some steps on your end. We've also made some edits to the actual inquiries themselves. So aside from the actual form, with inquiries, there's now a search bar. This was, requested and made total sense of why this would be helpful. So we plug this in here. You can now filter through the search bar by name, email address, and the form name. So if you have a few different forms, which we see oftentimes with a lot of folks that use Curate, they might have inquiry forms, they might have follow-up forms, just different parts of the processes that might be helpful to have some different types of questions. So if I type in wedding here, it'll then pull through anyone that has, filled out and submitted my wedding inquiry form. I can search directly like Emma here as a customer inquiry. If you're looking particularly for a certain form that has been completed, also by email again. So if you know someone's email, so like Shannon, if I want to search for her, oftentimes I guess their name might be part of their email, but it's really helpful. Just a quick search there now on your inquiries to help you find your information faster. We've also within the inquiries themselves. If you click in here, there is a note section that can be helpful. A lot of times you might receive an inquiry form and then kind of have a consult call, and maybe the inquiry isn't quite a fit, but maybe you need to just think about it. There's always an option to add notes here before you fully convert them into a proposal. So we've just increased the character limit here. We realized it was, not a ton of inquiry or character limits to allow you to really fully dive into important details that you might want to capture. So you shouldn't have any issues. We increased it quite a lot. It's like 4,000 something. So this will just allow you to leave a lot of notes here that you can save to this particular inquiry if you'd like to. And then we've also made some updates to tags. So I will shift away from inquiries and then we'll kind of cover some tag options. So we have made some edits to tags within settings. If you're on the tag manager, you'll notice that tags are now sorted alphabetically. So this is just easier, visually to find what you're looking for. So
Yeah.
again, this can be helpful if you're under tag manager. It's available, if you're adding tags within this kind of project event list here. Um,
Yeah.
Within the drop down, they're alphabetical. So that's just an improvement that we've made to help, tags be, just cleaner and more organized. We've also added some tag options to the actual event process too. So tags are really helpful. If you're not utilizing tags, I would,
We are.
highly
I agree.
recommend
I
it.
agree.
I know Shannon kind of touched on folks using tags for, their components, but it can also add clarity. We've seen companies, use tags for just different employees' names, to kind of filter, sort, kind of see who's like taking ownership of that. There's multiple team members. Maybe there's different packages, different types of clients, corporate, wedding, whatever that might look like. And so we've added the ability that you can manage those tags within that slide out that Shannon was talking about. So you can now remove a tag, you can add a tag from within this space. It's really easy. So if you'd like to kind of follow along with tags, through different parts of your process, your flow. If it hits a certain part, you can remove a tag, add a tag at that point. We've also gotten some feedback that it's helpful for folks to create an event with tags because a lot of times, with your processes, you might want to just go ahead and add those tags from the very beginning. So now when you go to create an event, you can also manage and add tags right from the very start. So this just streamlines your workflows, eliminates having, to go back and navigate elsewhere to kind of add tags later on. So you can go in and you can add them here as well. So really easy. You can add tags or you can create a new one. So if there's a particular tag you don't have in place, as I go, you can click the color here and then you can save it and then it'll add that way as well. So yeah, just wanted to highlight some improvements there around forms and tags. And then Shannon has a few more items to showcase too.
Before you stop sharing, there is something that I don't think that we've talked about yet. So if you want to click a few of those, click a few events right there, we can bulk edit tags now. So if you go there and you click on edit down in that bottom bar right there, you can now add tags across multiple events at the same time. I don't know why. We talked about this? I don't really know, but you can now do that. You can add them across. You can also change the color in bulk. So if you want to update things to change the color of the event in bulk or change the owner or change the status, these are just things that you can do just to make your life a little bit more efficient, a little bit better. That color is going to be specific to the calendar. So if that's an important piece for you to see it as a different color on the calendar, which is kind of common, it just makes it so easy to make those shifts from the dashboard. Something that I'm a big fan of is the ability to how much you can do from this dashboard. There's just so much, it's so functional, of everything that you can see and you can do, and you can manage so many things directly from this one spot. So that's so great. That's so great. Okay.
Yeah, good call out, Shannon, yeah.
Yeah.
Love bulk
Yeah,
action.
I don't know why we haven't talked about that before, how we had that's not made it onto our list. Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
good call out.
I'll share my screen again. Please do let us know if you have any questions. We still got Bob's question that we want to answer, but we'll kind of answer that towards the end. But let us know. Send any questions in or put anything in the chat if you're excited about something that you're seeing, something that's really valuable for you. Let us know. Because we can go deeper. We can always go deeper, but we try to keep it a little bit more broad um, on this call. So the next thing that we wanted to look at is this list. We've updated some new functionality where you can manage what are the columns that show here on this list. So if you go down to your settings and you go right here to your table column preferences, you can choose what you really want to show. In this account, we do have branches, so that's an option for us. We've heard common feedback. We don't want to show price on that main page. Just kind of depends on your business. We're going to toggle off the event ID. So maybe we're just going to keep these columns, the name, the customer, the status, and the date on that main column. I'm going to hop back over there. And now you can kind of see the effects of that. So you can remove items that don't make sense for you or for your business. Just really streamline what's showing here on this list, so that you can just makes it easier to navigate, kind of see the pieces that you need, instead of having all of that information there. So it allows you to customize that. The other thing that you can customize now is the markup, your tax rates. Sorry. So what you can do is you could set up what we call a tax profile, and it can have a very specific pieces that kind of go with that one. So we're going to look at this St. Louis tax structure right here. If the proposal has a St. Louis tax structure or something like that, I'm going to click in here. If it has the St. Louis tax structure, but maybe I want to do a different tax structure for another item. So for this one, maybe I don't want to do a tax rate at all on my rental items. I'm not going to charge taxes on my rental items at all. Even if it's the St. Louis tax rate, if I pull in a rental item and it's not going to have a tax rate. So I'm going to click save. So it allows you, if you have certain sort of items in your category, your product categories that you want to apply a different tax rate to, or maybe no tax rate to, you can do that. You can kind of manage this right here. So we'll kind of see this. I think that I was going to look at it for the corporate coffee social here. Let me just click refresh on the screen. Okay, so right now this is going to be, let me update it to be St. Louis. So I'm going to do St. Louis as our tax structure. Now, what that does is it's going to set your overall tax structure. It's not going to change any sort of taxes for items that already exist, but it will be your default tax rate for anything new that's added. But I'm actually just going to change all of these from Kentucky to St. Louis, just to align here. Okay, so now we've got that profile chosen for this event. You can even set that profile whenever you're creating a new event. I'll note that as well. But I'm going to go in here and I'm going to click import from catalog. And I want to pull a rental item. So I'm going to pull in this black mobile bar, just a very handy rental item. Whenever I pull that in, it's not going to have a tax structure at all because that's according to what I said in my profile. So if you have a category of staffing, for example, super common, don't apply taxes on staffing, you can put that as a special piece of your profile. So I'm going to go back to that to kind of see that one more time. So it's got your default rate, but then you can override it based on a specific category of item that you don't want to apply taxes to. This is just a time saver whenever you're putting your events together. And like I said, whenever you create a new event, you can even choose, what tax profile do we want to base it off of when we're in here working on the events. It could even be a super common one could be um, a a fundraiser one or a nonprofit. That's the word that I'm going for. You could have a tax profile for a nonprofit where there are no taxes for those items. Nothing is going to be there. That could be a tax profile that you could have as a nonprofit one. Okay, awesome. Um, Okay, got it. Okay. Amy, you asked a question for changing the way that the date shows. Right now, no, it is always going to show the earliest to the latest date. If you do have like a bunch of events, I will say it is way easier to grab items and archive them so they're not in the way whenever you are so you can see those next upcoming items. But yeah, right now the direction is always just going to be uh oh, I'm sorry. I think I misread that. So the date should always show it should always show like the earliest date here. If you wanted to flip it to where it was the latest date, you can. But yeah, right now there is no way to change the way that the dates will display there. Okay. All right, I'll stop sharing and Brooklyn can kind of take us through that last section there before we wrap up.
Yeah, thanks. There's just a handful of things left to kind of cover here as some updates that we've made. One being with our automations. So if you're not familiar with automations, you can access them by just going to your settings. There's an automations tab at the top. And then this is where you can kind of build what we call like a trigger and action. So when you add an automation, this slide out will come in and it'll allow you to kind of connect the dots between a specific trigger. So like when this occurs, then the action will kind of follow. And so there is one in particular that we just kind of put into place. I built one out to kind of just show this off. But this is the new trigger is going to be associated to this action. So it's when this event stage. So the event stage is updated to a particular stage within your pipeline. Then this particular action will be the follow-up. And so let me add one just here to kind of show from a complete blank slate of what this looks like. So you would name the automation here. So we'll just say this is our webinar one. This is your toggle to turn the automation on or off. So sometimes, you might want to save them, but they don't necessarily need to be put in place at a given time. So you can always come back and turn them on or off. You can add an optional description if you'd like to add some more context of what this, kind of automation is for. And so here we have this trigger when this occurs, and there's some different options here. So the new trigger that we put into place is called event stage updated to. So when you click this, there's now an option to select the stage. So again, this will come through with however you have your stages called in your pipeline. So maybe we want to say that when the products have been ordered, the action is that we want to send an email notification. And this is going to drop down to allow you to select, you do have to have the email template kind of already pre-done as a step here to have the information that you might need. But you can click your email template that you've created. And then so for this one, I'm just going to select the production team notification. Then you can select your who you'd like to send the email to. So just a note here with this, these emails, these are folks that are on the account. So whoever is a user on your Curate account will appear here as a option for you to select. So maybe I want to select Shannon, and then you can adjust the email subject if you like, but that just pulls in from my email template that I had already created. So this is a great workflow if you want to associate or just notify, particular parts of your flow of your events to let different employees know that, hey, it's your turn, you need to review something, or hey, this action has taken place, so I need you to look into something. That email will come through. I sent one this morning so I could kind of show it off. So this is a template that I put into place with, when my events are marked as booked, I want to notify my production team. And I made this email template so it can have any of the details or important information that you want to share with that particular person. And then this will notify them as soon as that event moves into that particular stage. So for this instance, just a little note here to let the team know, hey, we just have a confirmed booking on our calendar. Please take a moment to review. Here's the information. Just using some of those tokens, like what Shannon kind of covered earlier, just to populate that information for you there. And then, yeah, really helpful. So you can find, however that looks like with your own team of building those out and utilizing those email notifications. But that is something that we put into place here to help reduce some manual, follow-ups across teams.
Yeah, I truly am loving this. It's like an automation engine. Like, and you just set up all of these pieces. Like, you can customize what you want to do in here in this automations tab. So if you have not checked it out, I would say this is kind of like a sleeper feature. Not a lot of people have been like talking about this, but it is really good. You can set up these automations that you want. With that being said, we have more automations that are coming here. So if there is something that you want to see, either if it's a trigger or if it's an action or some sort of automation that you would really like to see, please do submit it. We have that customer like portal where you can go in, you can submit your feedback for anything that you want to be automated in the system. And you can also upvote other people. The really awesome thing about you going in and submitting that yourself instead of just telling our team is that whenever that's released, you'll get an email saying, hey, heads up, this is released, and you can go in and check that out and do those things. So we'll include that in the follow-up email from today, but send over anything. Like we're inventive, but our customers are really inventive. Like you're in the trenches, and so send over anything that you may think of that you would want to automate in the system, some sort of process. If it's another trigger, another action, or just another process that you would want to be automated in the system. We want to know those things. Because always we build towards, I always say we build what our customers tell us to build that's there. So just submit those things for us and for our team. We're going to come back to Bob's question that he said in the beginning was adding gratuity to a proposal. For gratuity in the system, I probably should pull up Curate. I can kind of pull that up right here. For gratuity in the system, it will come as part of Curate payments. So if you are looking to take advantage of gratuity when it is released, I'm going to hop down here to settings and I'm going to go up here to payments. You just want to make sure that you are connected to Curate payments because that is going to come to be a part of that one. So if you're set up with Curate payments, that will be enabled. That is something that's currently in progress. So we've already done some initial pieces with that and we're working on those things in the back end. So I don't have an exact timeline of when it's just know that it is currently being worked on. That is one of those things that it is the flow is already happening. The pieces are already kind of fall into place for that one. So just keep an eye out for that to come through. If you're ever looking for more in the moment, we just do these calls once a month. But if you're ever looking for something kind of just to see what was released this week or last week or whatever, hop over there into this news tab and you can see those features listed out there, big and small. Sometimes we don't go over every single little bitty feature on this call, but you can see every little bitty feature on that little news tab right there. So you can kind of see those updates that's there. So keep an eye on it. Yeah, so good question. So Bob asked, is there a workaround right now as I make proposals? What we will see people do, and I think it's bold, but hey, if it works for you, I will see people will automatically add that as part of the order, and they'll say it'll just be in there and it'll say suggested gratuity, and it will be entered into that line item right there. Um, with the suggested gratuity part, or if they tell you something that they want to do for gratuity, you can just enter it in there. Because if they are processing payments on the back end, that's going to allow them to just include that with whatever payment that they're making and include a part of the total, and then making it tax free. But I see people will that's automatically included as gratuity is automatically included on a proposal whenever you're sending out a quote. I see that pretty regularly. People, those are good questions. That's a good question. The So Amy, you said you're still having trouble with setting up the event production fee to calculate the 18% fee on food and staff. So for just really quickly, I'll show you this one. I can send you another video that I made for somebody made before that I can send over to you. But if we are going to calculate some percentage items, if I go over here, we'll see what we have set up in this account already.
Shannon, I'm not sure that you're sharing your screen.
Oh my gosh.
I just wanted to make a note
Thank
because I
you.
was like, I'm
Thank you.
just wanted to check in because I was like, I think you're trying to show off something.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So Bob, this is what I was showing where people will enter their things right here on the as a line item. They'll just enter gratuity as a line item right here. Sometimes with this calculated property and they'll just do 18% or 20%, whatever that built-in gratuity is for you, whatever is kind of standard for you. And you can kind of put in the description whatever that means, like suggested gratuity. Please let us know if you want to make any adjustments if that's you. Just based on our conversations, you're such a nice person, you want to make things as simple as possible. So, um, yeah, that could be something that you could do there. Okay. The other one is, so Amy said the percentage. So you want to definitely set this up in your template, whatever you're using as your starting place, whenever you're creating a new event. But if I go here on the back end, we've got a ton of them here, but I'm going to say this food and beverage fee right here. So you would just set up your percentage. If you have a percentage, you should already have one in your account, to be honest. It should already say just a percentage. And then you'll put in your 18%. And then it's going to be from whatever your properties, whatever your categories are in there. So you noted food and staff. And this one, I don't know that we have a staff. Yeah, we do have a staff one in here. So you can put that in there for food and staff for that to automatically calculate based off of. So then, and then that's going to be, it's going to have that amount and you just plug it in here. I'm just going to put in here, different people call it different things, but I'm going to call it service charge. And then once it's plugged in, so if you do this in your template, whatever you're using to create new events, if you do this in there, it will automatically be built out anytime that you're creating a new event. So I'll see what we have. I can send over a video that we already have built for that one. But okay, the good questions. Good questions. Anything else? Anything else for us to answer together? Or talk about future features or anything like that you want to chat through? We got 2 minutes. We can take advantage of it. Those are good questions. Alrighty. Well, I will send out a follow-up email, or our team will send out a follow-up email with the recording from today. I will also include that customer portal where you can submit that information. Please do that so that you'll always get those alerts whenever those features kind of come to pass. But we're super stoked to have you guys on with us today. Join us next month whenever we go over our new products, new features in the system. All right. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.